Good morning and welcome to the Betting Connection podcast. My name's Chris. I'm here with my partner in crime, as always, Rob. Rob, opening day of the weekend, done and dusted. How are you feeling today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Had a good week. I have something to say though about this week. Had a fun story. How are you doing, by the way?
A fun story. I'll be waiting for that one. Yeah, I'm doing great, Rob. I'm doing great. We recorded our opening weekend pod a few weeks ago now, actually, and we were meant to do a couple more between then and the opening weekend. Obviously, commitments just meant that we didn't do it. But we in that episode we previewed the opening weekend of the Premier League, and it was like I said, it was a few weeks before it actually started. But I did get a bit crazy with my predictions. I was quite strong with them, and it worked out very well, Rob. We ended up plus 5.7 units up for those picks.
Yeah, you did very well after our summer holiday. Yeah, so thank you for that. I also at least had some winners in Holland as well. Also played your place, so was a good weekend overall betting wise. Good start of the season. So high hopes, high hopes.
Yeah, very good weekend. Was there anything that stood out for you?
Oh, then I have to go back. I have to search back. Do you have anything on top of your mind that would that?
Well, yeah. Look, firstly, we had six predictions for that opening weekend in the Premier League. Five of them won, and if you remember back on the pod, we were saying that based on what the odds were here, we only needed three to be up, and we ended up getting five. And yeah, I feel like the weekend played. Obviously, I feel like the weekend played out how I thought it would because one, the predictions came in, but also, like more of the season type conversations we were having. Things like, I don't know. I know it's so early to really tell anyway, but I'm going to double down on some of the things I said. I thought that Brentford would be a team that would struggle and would potentially be getting relegated this year. Still of that mind. Sunderland, I felt like we were a team out of the newbies that would come up that maybe wouldn't go down. They smashed West Ham at home, and that was a pick as well. And yeah, generally speaking, that those home matches that I was alluding to did really come through. So the only one that I was not surprised by, but the only one that didn't win out of the six was the Villa, Aston Villa, home to Newcastle. I did fancy Villa based on all the issues that Newcastle are having this summer transfer window and still continue to have. But Villa were really toothless, actually, and Newcastle impressed me a little bit more than I thought they would. And yeah, I watched that game, and yeah, just Newcastle were lacking Isak up front, really, because other than that, they played really well. But other than that, yeah, everything played out exactly how I imagined it would.
Okay, that was a good weekend then. And yeah, about the Aston Villa Newcastle game, I watched a little bit. And yeah, indeed, Newcastle was better than all the concerns people were having before the match. I think Manchester City looked impressive as well. There's a lot of talk about Liverpool and Arsenal being the title contenders, and at least Manchester City will make them work for the title because they look quite good. And of course, with special interest, I was looking at Tijani Reinders of Manchester City, the signing, Dutch signing. We always hope he does well. And he did. He performed really well. And most people in Holland didn't expect he was at that level in England. And with those kind of players on the field, he almost looked like the best player on the pitch, to be honest. Yeah, so looking forward to how Dutch players are doing as well in the Premier League. Did you know there's going to be a historical amount of players who are Dutch in the Premier League this year? There's so many Dutch
Oh,
players.
oh, really? Ever?
Yeah, so you can make your own FPL team with just Dutch players now.
My goodness! And have you done that? Because I know you like your fantasy football.
Not all of them are Dutch, but I
But
do.
you got Rangers though, right?
Of course, I had Reinders, of
I
course.
heard that. I heard through the grapevine that they've underpriced him.
They underpriced him a lot. It was just 5.5, and he already smashed it. So the prices are already going up. If you're an FPL player, you have to jump on the train early.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm not playing it this season, but yeah, I'll look forward to. I know the group that you play with, Rob. So I'll be looking forward to the updates as always. But moving on to real football, and and obviously, other leagues kicked in last week as well. You mentioned the Dutch there. We didn't end up doing a preview of the Dutch league. Should we jump into it? Do you wanna give us a little overview of what happened last week, and yeah, what are your general thoughts regarding the all things Netherlands?
Yeah, so far, if you look to the title race, PSV looks very comfortable again. Smashed the first match 4-1, I thought. Won again last weekend. Yeah, they had some quite good transfers. They have a new striker player who's very unlucky, got injured, and he's probably going to be out for a couple of months. They kept their key midfielders, Veerman and Schouten, who are almost like Dutch international players, not really on the field, on the pitch, but definitely on the bench. And they're really strong. New defender from Valencia that look impressive. So yeah, they changed a bit of personnel, and they seem motivated again to get the title again. After that, you have Ajax. Ajax, you have a new head coach, Johnny Heitinga, also played in England for Everton, was a Dutch international, played in the World Cup finals. He comes across in the media not so very strong, to be honest. Like he was assistant manager on the slot, so everyone was thinking, okay, media handling should be on point. But so far, it doesn't make a lot of sense when he's talking. But maybe when he's talking to the players, that's the most important thing. It will work out. They dropped the first points. They didn't look convincing. Ajax, they drew against Go Ahead Eagles. We've talked about Go Ahead Eagles before because of the name that we like, but also because they play quite good in Holland and they look for a team to be in like the top six or top seven. They're also going to play in the Conference League this season or in the Europa League. I'm not sure. Definitely in Europe. Um, Last of the top three, traditional top three is Feyenoord. A lot of new personnel, a lot of transfers out. They made over 100 million this summer by selling players, so at least they got a good amount of money. They played already in the Champions League qualifier and lost to Fenerbahce. Fenerbahce of Jose Mourinho and very expensive players, but they didn't look so good when they played in Istanbul or in Turkey. It could go either way with Feyenoord. For me, if I look at the top three, I would say PSV one, Feyenoord two, Ajax could be third, but it also could be AZ. Younger team, a lot of prodigies, did a lot of selling as well, as most club in Holland always do. We're like a selling house. The best players always get bought from the bigger competitions, and then we try to find new gems. And AZ has a lot of gems in their youth academy. They're very well known for the youth academy. I think they've won the Youth Cup, like the Champions League of the youth, like twice in the last 5 years, beating Real Madrid and stuff. So most of the times when they sell a player, they already have a new one ready. And yeah, looking forward to that team, although it's always with those youth teams when a lot of young players are there, they sometimes win, sometimes they play unbelievably bad, and they did last weekend, and they already drew against FC Volendam, a team that could be going down this season. So yeah, it's going. I think it's going to be PSV and Feyenoord, and then the rest will fight for European spots. That's about it
Yeah,
for us.
PSV are 1.5 to win the league. They weren't as short as that prior to last weekend, actually, because I looked at this during the summer and they were a little bit closer to evens. They were still odds on, but they were a little bit closer to evens, with Ajax a little bit over evens. Now they are 1.5, and you've actually got Ajax and Feyenoord joint second favourites at 4.5. So it kind of ties in with what you're saying. And as you say, Feyenoord could be the team to challenge, but it's difficult for me also to see anyone beyond PSV, to be honest with you. They've got a bit more strength in depth generally, no, PSV.
Yeah, they didn't sell that many players as we thought. Like I said before, you had Veerman and Schouten who are playing a long time now for PSV, and they're almost every year excelling and being one of the best players of the league, and they just want to stay put so far. So for the head
They
coach,
did lose. They did. Was it Noah Lang? They
yeah,
sold, did they?
yeah, they
Yeah,
sold
they
them
sold
quite
Noah
early.
Lang, and
Yeah,
they bought in. They bought in Lucas Perez. Am I right in saying that that's the guy that used to play for Arsenal for a little bit on loan or something, or we had him cheap and then went to Deportivo? Is it that Lucas Perez?
I'm not sure. I'm not
I
sure.
think I think it is. I think it was one of the weirdest transfers I saw this summer, actually. But anyway, yeah, okay. Well, one before we might as well jump into the weekend ahead then, as we're talking about Holland.
Yeah.
But before we do, Rob, Vitesse. I saw the story about Vitesse.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That's a sad
Just
story.
from I was yeah, I wanted to speak to you when I saw the story, but we never did. Just really quickly for those that may not have heard about this, what happened?
Vitesse didn't had their papers right, so they had like I think the beginning of the story would be being bought by a Russian oligarch who has a lot of money and chasing the title, chasing European spots. They were up there, but they just had to fill one hand with the other, and there was a lot of money coming in through Russia. We even had a Russian coach who was very fun to watch. He was a very well in the media. I really liked him. Then afterwards, I think Corona happened. Then you had, I think, the war, and that's why they had to sell the club to someone else. And then it just been on and off, wrong owners, and they just didn't got the administration right. And then you have like this licensing association who keeps on checking them, and they were just giving them second chances after second chances. And this was the final straw, and they didn't deliver, and they didn't have their papers right, they didn't have their money right. So yeah, they finally said, okay, enough is enough, and no more Vitesse with a pro license. So they might continue as amateurs, and then they have to try and rise up again through the ranks. Um,
Jeez.
but so
Can you
far,
can you imagine that happening to Chelsea?
yeah, but at least in England you have like a pro system you can fall back on. You can really go from like the bottom tier to the top tier. But in Holland it's a little bit more difficult because like the top two leagues are professional, but after that it's like semi-professional, like amateur
Hmm.
wise, and you have to like do different constructions to get back to the pro license. It's not like becoming champion and then immediately you go to the pro license. You have to have more stuff going on. But yeah, we'll find about that. I think in a couple of years because it
Yeah.
try to get back.
Yeah, it's a shame. We spoke about Bethesda, didn't we, last season? We spoke about Glenn Helder. We had some funny stories. So yeah, big
And
shame.
there were a lot of good players who played for Vitesse, and they did actually play in Europe as well. And it was quite a good team for quite a long time in Holland. They were part of top six in the Premier League and Premier Division. But yeah, that's what happens when it's all about money.
Yeah, well, and there's no messing around by the authorities. Pro license gone. There you go. Amateurs if you want it. So yeah, absolutely crazy. Anyway, let's look at this weekend ahead, Rob. And yeah, like I said, back in full flow last week, in the same time as the English Premier League. What have you got for us this weekend?
I have one value pick in the Premier Division. It's Go Ahead Eagles. We talked about they are playing Sparta. Both names are great, to be honest. Go Ahead Eagles and Sparta Rotterdam. Sparta didn't look impressive when they played PSV in the opening weekend. They lost 6-1. They bounced back, beating Utrecht at home 2-1. But everyone's not really sure where to put them this season with Sparta. Could have been a win against Utrecht because Utrecht is trying to qualify for Europe. They had to like rotate a couple of players. They're already playing a lot of matches because they are a couple rounds in. And Go Ahead Eagles, as we said, they looked really impressive against PSV in the Dutch Super Cup. They drew away from home against Fortuna Sittard. They did get a red card in there, what might messed up their chances to get a win. And they actually look quite good again against Ajax last weekend. They're known to be quite a lot of good home fans. The stadium is always in good atmosphere. And a home game against Sparta Rotterdam, I think for even your money, it's a strong pick for me.
Yeah, I've got them at 2.05.
Even better.
Even better, 2.05 for Go Ahead Eagles. Nice. Is that the only value pick you have?
I have one more, but that's in the second division of Holland.
Okay. Yeah. Tell us.
And it's gonna be the number 4 at the moment against the number 1. So it's FC Dordrecht against Young PSV, the young team. And I wasn't impressed by the young team of PSV, to be honest. They did had a couple of good opponents who are not looking very promising so far, and they both got the win, so that's why they're top of the league after 2 games. And FC Dordrecht is a team coached by Dirk Kuyt. You
All
probably
right.
remember
Yeah.
him. He's a new head coach, and he did quite good in Belgium last season. Now he's back to Holland after a very weak start when he started coaching in Holland. And yeah, I think they have a real chance. Last season, they were quite close to getting promoted. Young PSV has to get rid of a lot of, not rid of a lot of players, but a lot of players of them would be on the bench for the real PSV, so the first team. And for 1.8, I like FC Dordrecht to win this match at home.
1.8, you say, yeah?
Yeah,
Lovely. When's that match?
that's both matches are being played on Saturday. This one is
Saturday.
played at 4:30, and Go Ahead Eagles is on 4:30. So both matches on 4:30. Let's go.
Okay, let's go. Sounds like a good time to have the matches along with a lot of the Premier League football as well. So, speaking of which, we did things a little bit different this time. We started in Holland and now we go to the Premier League. We normally do it the other way around. And just for those who may be listening for the first time, when we're doing these value picks, we always place one unit on a single. Okay, so that's what we do here. We find value picks from about 1.7 upwards and we place one unit on each one. And sometimes we do doubles, sometimes we do trebles, which will also amount to around even money. But we're looking at one unit plays. And when we get to the Accas, we will explain that as well.
Okay.
Okay, so Premier League, like I say, we had an amazing start for opening weekend. Now we're looking at some new rounds of fixtures. I'll go to you first, Rob. Is there anything that stands out on the page for you this weekend? I've got a couple.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking forward to your picks then. But I found one interesting match. I watched, of course, the Liverpool-Bournemouth game. I thought Bournemouth looked really well, and they look like a strong team again. They had just a very strong opponent in the first, but if you can score a couple of goals against them, then at least you must be doing something right. Semenyo, very impressive. still on the pitch. Last season, he already was impressive. This season again. And they're playing Wolverhampton Wanderers, a team who lost their key players over the summer. So for me, it's Bournemouth at home, trying to get the first 3 points for 1.76. I found them 1.75.
I don't know what's happening this weekend, Rob. Normally you get the better prices. Maybe your bookies are starting to shave it off because I got it at 1.8.
I jumped on quite early, to be honest. So maybe the prices changed a little bit, but maybe the
Maybe.
bookies ended up changing. So yeah, let's find out.
Yeah. Okay.
I have the early
So
payout though. That's maybe why I have the early payout now. So that's it scrapes a little bit of percentage off here in Holland at least. I know Bet365 doesn't do that. It's just always a early payout. But in Holland you can have the option. If you want to have the early payout, you probably pay like a couple percent.
yeah, that's the same as one of the bookies that I use as well. You have a choice. You actually have a choice on Bet365, but they actually standardize it. So when you're making your pick, you are picking it for the early payout, and it's actually a little bit more difficult to find it without. Whereas the other bookies kind of do it the other way around. So you have to like find get the shorter price on the early payout. So they all tend to do that, though. You'll find even with Bet365, you do have the option not to do it, but yeah, I think they were the first ones to do it, weren't they? Bet365, and it seems a little bit better priced for that.
I might be the best bookie at the moment.
I've always used them. I've always used them, and then, like I said, they're not the only ones that I use. But I tend to like them. I think they're most consistent for prices. They're not always the best, but they're definitely not the worst. And
Okay,
I
so
think
don't keep
consistency
us
wise,
waiting. Give us some picks.
yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'm rambling. So look, let's go. At the moment, at the beginning of the season, it's more about gut feel. It's trying to dodge those banana skins. There is two games that I like, and the first one is on Sunday, and it's Man United at Fulham. Okay, I think we will see a different Man United this season. I think that was evident on the opening day against Arsenal. Thought they played well in attack, and I think they're going to cause problems. Cunha and Bomo. We don't know what Shesko looks like yet, but even with or without, they've got Bruno Fernandes behind them as well. Like, I think they're going to cause problems. And look, Fulham are not an easy team to beat. Don't get me wrong, but I think Man U will start racking up some points. I don't think there's a better team for them to start doing that than Fulham. They've got an amazing record. They've won 8 out of the last 8 at Craven Cottage. So
Wow.
this is a ground that they like to go and win. Obviously, that spans over quite a long period of time because Fulham have had a gap in the Championship during those 8 visits, but they have been back for the last 5 seasons, and Man United won all 5 of those as well. And yeah, I just think that they'll get it clicking. I don't know what to make of Fulham this season yet. They got a late point away at Brighton last week. Decent manager, decent enough team. They're going to take points off people. They'll win some, lose some. Honestly, they're just one of those teams. Like any results possible. But I think Man United deserved to get some points last week, and I think they will get points, and hopefully the 3 points. At 2.15, I'm just attracted by the price. They were actually 2.2 earlier in the week. That went down to 2.05 last night, actually, and it's gone back to 2.15 this morning. So I'll be placing my bets on immediately after this podcast. So I'm going to note it down at 2.15, and I do think that's good value.
Yeah, sounds fair enough, to be honest. I like your reasoning, and I like yeah, Man United has to come good one time, right? Maybe this is the season for them.
I think they will. I don't think they'll be top 4 or anything, but I think top 8, top 6, depending. I think they can. I think Amarim will start to get his message across, his tactics across, his style across. You still worry a little bit about them defensively. I think they're not strong enough in the middle of the park as well. I think they were linked with that Beleba from Brighton, who I think would have been a fantastic signing for them. I don't think they'll get him, but they do need that kind of player. And I think they still need some reinforcement in defence. But going forward, they're going to cause problems all season long, I imagine. So, yeah, I think they'll definitely have a better season. It's hard to have a worse one, to be honest. But yeah, I think they'll be better. So I'm going United, and let's see how that plays out. The other match I've got in the Premier League, I faded Newcastle, and that was my only defeat in the opening day of the weekend. But I'm going to do it again. And I just can't not take a price of better than even money for Liverpool. I know it's away at Newcastle. I know it's one of the trickier fixtures in the season. But again, with what's going on between these two clubs at the moment, I imagine this game's going to be feisty as hell. It's going to be it's on a Monday night. It's the first game under the lights for Newcastle. So on that side of things, I think it's going to be a really tough game for Newcastle, for Liverpool. Obviously, the Isak thing is going on as a subplot behind this as well. So I can imagine the fans are going to be going crazy, and it's going to be directed at Liverpool, and it's going to be a nuts game. But the problem is that Newcastle don't have a striker. So Liverpool didn't look good defensively last week, but Newcastle I don't think are going to score many goals. So based on that, I think Liverpool will do enough defensively to keep Newcastle at bay, and Liverpool are just too good going forward. So I just think that there's a little bit of a mismatch here. And although Newcastle are decent defensively, I think that Liverpool's attack will break them down. And I just can't see Newcastle scoring enough goals to get a point in the game. So I think, again, for better than even money, 2.05, you've got to take the favourites to win the league.
Yeah, yeah, very true. Yeah, Newcastle away is definitely a tough match, but as you said, a lot of things going on. Liverpool for such a good price, you don't see that coming around very often. So yeah, good pick.
Yeah, like I say, it's trying to well, miss the banana skins, trying to find good value. It's all about the good value. That's what we do here on this pod. So again, I do think it's good value regardless. Whatever you might think, it is good value. And there's very little elsewhere, like I do fancy Man City to beat Tottenham, and they will make up actually some one of the student Accas, but at 1.48 with Tottenham definitely capable of getting something, and Tottenham have got a good record against City. You're not going to bet big on that one. And other than that, it's difficult. I kind of fancy Villa as well away at Brentford. Villa are 2.2 to win that game. Everyone that listened to us last time will know that I really am strong on Brentford struggling and maybe get relegated this season. I do fancy that. I just don't know where Villa are right now, and they need players through the door as well. I think they're a bit short themselves, so I'm going to stay clear of backing them just yet, but I'm tempted. That's 2.2. I think is good value. Other than that, yeah, not a lot doing this weekend.
Okay, that's
Right,
England.
there is one. It's not England actually. There's one more in England I've got, and it's actually in the Championship. And again, very very difficult league to call. I think this season's going to be a weird one. You normally get a runaway leader in the Championship. It's a very competitive league. You normally get somebody that is way better than the rest. Last season wasn't quite that case. You had kind of three that were neck and neck, but they were clear. This season, I think it's going to be really up for grabs. This season, I don't think there will be like high points from the first one or two. I think there's going to be a lot of drop points from a lot of teams, and I think it's going to be really competitive. I am looking at one, and I just can't get over the value of this, and it's Middlesbrough away at Norwich. They are at 3.1 to win this game, and I fancy them. Middlesbrough, they're actually 3.2 earlier in the week, and they've come down to 3.1. And Borough have won their opening two matches of the league, so they're 6 for 6 points. They are quietly going about their business, and I don't know if you saw this week, but that Neopan, the Norwegian prodigy that Man City ended up signing,
Yeah.
that I think back in January, Arsenal, City, Villa were all after him. City were talking about or Girona were going to get him, who are obviously connected to City, and he didn't make up a decision at the time. Arsenal were really keen. There was one point where Arsenal were close to getting him, and he would have played as well. He'd have gone into the team at the back end of the season with the injuries that Arsenal had. Didn't happen. He waited to the end of the season. Looked like Villa had won the race. Now Man City won the race. They ended up getting him. They've loaned him to Middlesbrough. And that was done just early this week. So I think he's making his debut this weekend, and they've already won 2-2. Norwich lost their first match, and I think they won last week, but they lost at home already this season. They got spanked, in fact. And Borough have a great record at Norwich. They've won 5 of the last 6 matches in total, and 2 of the last 3 at Carrow Road. So, yeah, Borough like this ground. Borough like playing Norwich. They've won 2 out of 2. They've got a great new signing who I think is going to be amazing. And can't beat that underdog value at 3.1. So I'm liking that.
Wow, that's a big price. You're getting confidence there. Let's get him.
Just trying to find that value, but that one stood out like a sore thumb. Again, look, Norwich are a good team. They will be fighting there or thereabouts. So they're not going to win the league. They could be kind of playoff positions. So, look, this isn't an easy game for Borough, but I think there's just enough there early in the season. And Norwich is a bit of a mess. I think there's new management as well. It's a little bit unsettled there at the moment. So yeah, strike while the iron's hot and get that price.
Okay, let's see how that plays out.
Let's see how that plays out. So there we've already got, what's that, 6 picks already for you guys. So that covers quite a lot there. Spanish League, La Liga, that's normally the next one that we talk about, Rob. I live in Spain. I do follow La Liga with interest. What are you feeling? Just before we have a look at any matches, what are you feeling this season? Obviously, it normally goes into 1 or 2 places, but Real Madrid, Barca, who you having this season?
Oh, that's a tough question always. Um, I have a little bit of favoritism towards Barcelona. We have a Dutch player, Frankie de Jong, over there, who's almost like probably one of the best midfielders. A little bit underrated, I think. But yeah, so my heart goes out to Barca. But it's a very tough ask. It's very tough to tell who's gonna win that league. It seems like both of them are gonna run away with it. Atletico already lost points against Espanyol that played really well, also played really well in the preseason. So I saw it a little bit coming, at least fading Atletico for that game. Yeah, let's see if Atletico, I think they will still wrap up third place. Although I do think one of the teams that could be doing overperforming this season could be your Valencia. I kind of have like last season they ended the season quite well and under their new coach, and I think they have a chance of at least doing a lot better than last season, not hanging around those relegation spots. So and that's about it so far for me from Spain. I do like my Barças and Real for the big Gun Accas. I'm gonna watch out a little bit with Atletico, but they should come good this weekend. And I'm keeping track of the results of Valencia and see if I can spot any value there.
Valencia are my dark horses. By the way, I completely agree with what you just said there. If we had done our La Liga review prior to the season, my 2 points were Barcelona will win the league and Valencia are my dark horse. So
Wow.
so yes, I completely agree with you there. Valencia finished the season off very well under their new manager, and yeah, they have sold a couple of their players this summer. But they've also got a couple in as well. They got Danjuma from Villarreal as well, who's
Yeah.
decent enough. And yeah, I think they'll do enough. I actually did back them myself outside of our pod, but I did back them on the opening day of the weekend at home at Real Sociedad. Finished 1-1, which is still a fairly decent result for Valencia, but I thought they might win. And they were good price as well. That's why I went for it. But yeah, I do think that they will do a lot better, and hopefully they'll try and pick up a European position this year. That's what I'm hoping for. In terms of the Barcelona and Real Madrid, I just think Barcelona are just stronger. They don't, even though under Alonso, I don't know what it is about Real Madrid. They're missing something, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if the Mbappe thing works. I find it weird that Rodrigo can't get a minute under Alonso. I just look at their team and I just think he ain't that good. Like he's just not. And Barcelona, it's not. Like it just isn't. You look at their team, look at their starting lineup. It's just not that good. Like, and and Barcelona are strong all over the pitch now. I think Rashford, they're going to play him as a number 9 now. Obviously, Lewandowski is still the man, but he's getting old. I think that's it's a nice alternative, a nice yin and yang, isn't it? Like the difference between Lewandowski and Rashford, flanked by Yamal and Rafinha. De Jong, like Pedri. Like it's so strong, isn't it?
Yeah, they're very solid. They're very solid, and they already showed that they're winners. And Lamal, especially, I think, on that age, already getting so many trophies. The guy just looks unbelievable. And if like maybe the team doesn't play well, Lamine Yamal can show up and score you 2 goals and then get you a win. So
Yeah, they got a lot of bang bang.
they seem more like a team or something, like more. I think that they're more like, I don't know how you call it in English, but in Dutch you would say you have more water carriers as well, like players like they just work for the other one, like workhorses.
Yeah, no, we say water carriers as well for players that get around the pitch, and yeah, they do, and I think just their balance, just the balance as well. You sometimes look at a team, even with great players, some teams just don't have balance,
Yeah,
and I think Chelsea are guilty for that as well. Sometimes, I think they're getting towards being better, but
yeah,
sometimes you just feel like there's no balance in that team. And I think that's the same with Real Madrid. You just don't really know where it's coming from. Like in Barcelona, they've got great players. Obviously, it helps having Lamine Yamal, who's absolutely smashing it. And I think over exceeding people's expectations at this young age. So fair play to him. Rafinha also deserves to be mentioned. Unbelievable season last year. And they're just capable of something out of nothing. And I don't think it's going to be close this season, actually. And I think they'll run away with it. And I don't know what that means for Alonso, because I don't think they're good enough to win the league. I don't think they're good enough to win the Champions League. And you know what that generally means in Real Madrid. So I don't know. I don't know where they're going.
yeah. Let's see how it plays out in Spain this season.
Speaking of Real Madrid, though, after just absolutely bashing them, I'm actually going to put them in a double this weekend that I like, and purely because they're playing away at Real Oviedo. Obviously, the Santa Cazorla story was very nice to then get promotion. Did you see that the promotion? Like it's his boyhood club, and he scored he come off the bench and scored the goal that got him back to La Liga in the injury time. Crazy scenes. And they're back, but they got, soundly beaten by Villarreal last weekend. This is their first home match, but Real Madrid are going to be too strong for them. And I actually think it's a fairly decent price on Real Madrid, around, what was it, about 1.4, 1.3, something like that. But I'm doubling them up with Villarreal. Villarreal played home last week and beat Real Oviedo. They play home again this week, and they're playing Girona. Girona weren't the same last season as the season before that, when they shocked everybody with how well they did. And Girona lost last week, the first day of the season, at home against Rayo Vallecano. They lost 3-1 at home. Okay, they went down to 10 men in that match late in the first half, but they were already 2-0 down at that point. So yeah, I think that Villarreal are going to be a decent enough team. I think they'll challenge the top 4 positions this season. They got off to a winning start at home. They're playing at home again. I do fancy them to win that. Real Madrid will win, double, exactly even money.
Okay, I think it's a good pick. I also have probably them in the Oh yeah, I do have them in the big Gun Acca, but we're gonna talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll get to that point soon. Before we do, I don't have any other picks across Europe this weekend, Rob. Do you?
Me neither. I do have
Oh,
some picks that I have like for the big Gun Acca, but
yeah.
it's not worth talking while.
Okay, so just quickly then, because we never did a season preview, we won't spend a lot of time on this. But in terms of the other major leagues, Serie A, Napoli won the league last year on the last day of the season. You fancy them again this season?
Who I think Italy is always a very tough call. There are quite a few teams that could be chasing for the title. I think Napoli is definitely must be one of them. Juventus might turn up this season. They had quite a good preseason as well. Inter Milan, of course. I think they were like the last couple of years, most of the time the strongest team. As Roma did very well at the end of the season, so they might be in. AC Milan do have their great players, so I think it's a very tough one to ask. Definitely before the season. I'm not sure if I have a favorite. I do have a favorite team to look out for. I think if you listened to the pod last season, you would have known. I'm very interested in Como. Great coach, great players, but a lot of young talent again, and they're like starting a prodigy with the rich man behind it. So a lot of money behind that team. So I'm interested in that team, but for the title race, I couldn't pick a winner. Do you fancy one?
I'm not sure neither. I think it is difficult, and I think all of the teams have strengthened this transfer window as well. Napoli obviously bought in Kevin De Bruyne. Should be interesting to play alongside McSauce, old
And he
Scott
took up the
McTominay,
number
who
10,
got
eh? He took up the number 10.
I know, and that's a big number in Napoli.
I shouldn't. Would you have done it?
Yeah, why not? I mean,
No, I would never.
I
Come
don't
on,
know, man.
Diego.
I know, but you've got to fancy yourself. You know, De Bruyne has been doing it for the best team in the best league in the world. Napoli, yeah, okay, they won the league, but they're still kind of minnows in comparison to your Milans and Juventus. So yeah, he wants to be the big boy. You know, he wants a
Yeah,
statue.
he wants it. Like
He
he has to perform then. So let's see how
does, he
the season.
does.
I'm
They
rooting for
also
him.
they also added Dutch defender as well, didn't they, from Bologna?
Bukema.
Bukama, that's it. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah, solid defender from like he was. I think he used to play for AZ. Alkmaar, he was there, youth, as I talked about before. The youth academy is really well, really good. And I think they transferred him, yeah, to Bologna. And year after year, he's delivering the performances there. And we saw the rise of Bologna. I think definitely 2 seasons ago, they were fourth, I thought, with Zirkzee and Beukema as well. So, yeah, solid defender. I think the Dutch are known for having a lot of defenders at the moment across Europe.
yeah, which is kind of not the Dutch way, really. You
No.
know, like free flowing football, but it is more about the defense these days. But
Although
yeah,
we have tall guys, a lot of tall players as well, like tall, strong. I think they have quite a good intelligence as well. They're quite intelligent, most of them at least. And then maybe that helps as well.
yeah, so I don't know. Milan, like I say, Milan, because Allegri's got in charge of Milan now. As they've been a bit swapping around there. So Allegri's now in charge of Milan. They've brought in Luka Modric as well, Stupinian as well. Stupinian came in,
Yeah.
so I think Milan will be better this year. I do think they'll be better. I'm not sure they can be winning the league. Juventus, again, I don't see anything really there. They got Jonathan David, didn't they?
Yeah.
Free transfer. So I don't know. If gun to my head, I'd probably say Napoli again.
Okay. Napoli.
And then Bundesliga. What we talk about Bundesliga here because for me, it's just going to be run away by Munich because you've got Leverkusen who have now lost Alonso and some players. I
And
just
some
don't fancy.
players, unbelievable, they sold almost half the team.
Yeah, half the
Definitely
team, and
the
they
key
bought in
players.
they bought in your Dutch boy, the old Man U manager.
Yeah,
So
yeah, 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 yeah.
I don't fancy him. You've got Leipzig of lost Shesko and probably Simons. You've got Eintracht Frankfurt lost Ekatike, and
Yeah.
they lost the boy to Man City as well earlier in January
Mamouche.
as well. Mamouche, yeah. So it feels like all of the competition has weakened significantly. Bayern Munich have bought in Luis Diaz as well. One horse race or what?
Yes, in my mind it is. And normally Bayern München is very well known to buy the best players from the different German teams, but now even the European teams are taking the best players for them. So yeah, it seems like an easy job for Bayern München, although they still have a lot of games to play for it.
Yeah, I just can't see it being any other way. And French league, well, we know PSG probably win the league there. I don't think there's much to talk about. We like tucking into the French league as we go along. Our favourite towards the end of last season was Strasbourg, who I do think will be a dark horse again this year.
Yes,
And yeah, we'll have to wait and see a few matches in before we start betting there, I imagine.
yeah, Strasbourg is also a team that has like who makes like a project out of the team, out of the club. Like they really try to build it up and like be smart with their money, but they do have a lot of money backing them. So yeah, that's Strasbourg as well. So good pick. So that's what we mostly try to do, and we try to identify the teams that are trying to that are going to overperform this season and the little bit of the dark horses because most of the time that's where the value lies. As we talked about in the last part last season it was Aberdeen, but maybe this season it will be our Valencia. We'll see.
Yeah, Valencia, we'll
Come
try and
on.
get some good value. And Strasbourg is an interesting one. I don't know if you can find it in your bookies, but I'm trying to find a bet where I can bet on them to finish in the top four. That would be quite interesting to me. You've got where are they? I'm just looking at the odds here for the season of Strasbourg. So you've got one, two, three, four, five, six. So they're joint seventh, basically, in terms of odds, right?
Mhm.
But you've got the likes of Monaco, Marseille, Lille, Lyon, kind of quite significantly shorter than the Strasbourg. So I think you'll find quite a good price for a team like Strasbourg to finish top four. That's the bet I'm looking for, but I can't seem to find it at my bookies. So if you have any luck with that one, let me know.
Okay.
So that's something I'm looking for. I'd be interested to know what the odds are on that. So yeah, look, we'll have to to see how that plays out. I think it's the opening day of the season in the French league as well. So yeah, we like that league. We
I
did
have
all
to
right in it
correct you
last
there.
year.
I think they played last weekend already.
Did they?
Yeah.
They already started. Who? There is one league that is their opening weekend. I thought it was France, but maybe
It's
it's is it
Germany.
Serie A?
It's Germany and the Serie A.
Serie A, Serie A. So France is already up and running. I didn't even notice that, to be honest with you. What are we
No
looking at? Yeah,
worries,
I'm
no
just,
worries. You
just
can't
no, that's
count
fine. I'm just looking at the
out of
result. I'm
time.
just looking at the results now. I can put yeah, Strasbourg won away at Metz as well. So there we go. So already our little dark horse got off to a winner, and PSG won as well. So yeah, business as usual. Monaco won, Lyon won. So yeah, okay, yeah, we'll let that play out. We like that league, don't we? But let's just see a couple more games into the season before we start finding our value. And normally this brings us to the part of the pod, Rob, where we would normally do something where a little bit more fun. We've had quizzes, we've had 1 minute rounds, things like that. I'd like to see if any of our listeners have any suggestions of what we can do in this kind of section this season. We don't have anything today other than you mentioned earlier that you had a story or a funny story of some kind.
Oh my God, what happened to me this weekend or this week? You're like on a roll and you're like trying to do all your little chores and like to like keep on going and like doing tick after tick, and I was on the right track. So I was about to do a oil change, not an oil change, or at least fill up the oil in my scooter. But then, I went I had to buy it in the store. I had to like find out which one, and then I got it. I finally got it, and I gave it to my wife, like, you can put it in because she needed to drive with it. But a couple minutes later, I came by and I thought, I wasn't gonna do it myself. So what you figured, I put the oil in the gasoline tank.
Ah,
Oh my God. So that was the beginning of the story. And I'm like, but like you can't like I drove like I was looking it up at ChatGPT or like on the internet and I'm like, what should I do now? And they said like, yeah, you have to like try to get more gasoline in so it filters it out a little bit. So I drove like 100 meters, but it already was choking and so on me. So I stopped and I walked down to a scooter shop and they said like, nah, this is very tough to do, it's very hard, we're not gonna find anyone who wants to do this and stuff like that. Oh, is it this brand? No, we're not working with this brand. So and then I was looking it up on YouTube and ChatGPT, and I figured like I might be able to do this myself. So I was supposed to get everything out of the gasoline tank and then fill it up again with new, and then it it should be able to drive again. So, but my wife is second guessing me. My dad is second guessing me because I'm not famous for being quite a handyman, and I'm like thinking like so I'm trying to find options for someone else to repair it for me, but I couldn't seem to find anyone. So when push come to shove, I thought, okay, let's do this. So I had to like get rid of two little tubes, and one of the tubes was consistent of gasoline, and one I had to like blow in it, not blow it in, but how you call it? If you suck it, you suck on the tube. So I actually was the guy that was like sucking on the tube to get like gasoline out of the other one in a bucket all day on Tuesday to get rid of the gasoline and then get rid of my stupid mistake that I've made with filling it up with oil. And finally it worked. So I finished it. I did the job as a mechanic of a scooter. So if you ever need a repair, now you can call Rob, the scooter repairman.
Rob the scooter repair man. And remember, guys, oil and petrol separate on scooters.
Oh my God. Like I was such in a rush, you're such in a rush and you just open it up and you thought like, I'm filling it up. And while I was filling it up, I'm like thinking like, how much goes into this thing? So I put a full liter in it. So it was way, way, way too much.
Oh my God. Yeah, it wasn't even just a little bit and you realized the mistake as soon as you did it. This was you just fully did it.
Yeah, just fully did it. And I'm like, I think I emptied the bottle. Then I thought like, what did I do? I'm like, no. And it took like a half a day of work to fix it, but at least I fixed it. So good ending of the
Well, good ending. And well, it sounds like you had a mare there. I'll tell you something that you do not have a mare with, and that is the big gun Acca last season, Rob. For anybody that does not listen to this pod, has never listened to this pod, the big gun Acca is an Acca that we put one unit on again, but it's finding those big teams, very short odds. Sounds easier than it is in reality because there's always banana skins, there's always landmines. And Rob has a knack of missing those landmines, dodging those banana skins, and picking teams over a weekend that you fully expect to win. But when you add them all up, you get odds of evens or better. Sometimes we were as high as 7-8s last year. And God, our record was crazy. I am keeping a proper record of breaking down all of our bets this season so we can proper track what we're doing on each thing, right? But if we have anything like the success of last season on your big Gun Acca, it's going to be a lot of smoother weekends than your oil story. So let's start. We didn't do anything on the opening day of the season, probably not enough matches across Europe anyway. But have you got something for us this weekend to kick off the big Gun Acca season?
Of course, I have something. You're building up the pressure nicely, so we must deliver this season again. But then again, I think with the amount of unit we won last season, I could cope with a season going without a single win, and we would still be up. So that's my
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree
that,
with that. So
that
let's
are
see
my
what you got.
credentials. So let's see if we can start it off right. I have an eightfold already, and the fight like the odds are 5.05, and we're starting off with Paris Saint-Germain, Arsenal, PSV, Sporting, Atlético Madrid, Barcelona, FC Porto, and Real Madrid. You can find it for this eightfold for 5.05.
5.05. What a way to kick off the season for Big Gun Accas. Let's see if we have the same success as last season. That'll be an amazing start there. Okay, Student Acca, not so successful, but this one's more like a pick 'em. It's there's not much that I do as the season goes along. I do pick these based on stats, and overall, I normally pick like Accas of 6, 7 teams, and we're talking about more bigger odds, trying to get the overall 10, 20 to 1, things like that. And to be fair, as I said last season, as we did this, we didn't have many winners. But if you backed them singly or put them into doubles, you would have had a lot of success because it wasn't disastrous in terms of 5 out of 6 losing. It was always kind of one letting us down, two letting us down out of 6, 7 games. So if you put them into doubles and stuff, because I normally pick odds of around 1.4, 1.5, sometimes a bit higher on each one, there was still a lot of success there to be made. But let's hope that we have a little bit more luck in terms of the overall bet. The Student Acca, we only play a 0.2 of a unit on this one. So this is literally, fiver down the back of the sofa when you were a student, going down to the bookmakers, getting your slips out, getting your pencils out and picking your crosses before the days of the internet. This is what the Student Acca was all about. So this week, with the Student Acca, I have got a sixfold. I'm not going too crazy. I want to try and get off to a good start. I've got Man City to beat Tottenham. Then we've got a couple in the Championship. We've got Birmingham to win, Coventry to win, Wrexham to win. League One, we've got Stockport, and going back to the Eredivisie, I've got FC Utrecht against Excelsior, and I understand that FC Utrecht have an amazing record against Excelsior, so I'm going to back them. They're all at home, 6 teams, and that comes to 12.81.
Okay, I like it. We're gonna start it off good this season with the Student Acca. And I think as Chris mentioned, it's pick and choose as well. Huh? You can combine one or two picks that you really like of them and play it as a double. Most of the picks, I think, most of the Student Accas, you're hitting more than 70, 75%. So always a lot of good picks in that. Just hope they all work out this season, this weekend.
Yeah, just need them all to come in on the same weekend. But at the end of the day, it is just a bit of fun. It is 0.2, so like on overall, what we're trying to do here is build bankroll. This is just the fun part of it. So it's neither here nor there, to be honest. If one or two come in this season early doors, then it's going to make things look a lot nicer. But yeah, like even on this one, for example, if we're playing a fifth of our normal unit size and we're looking at odds of 12.81, then we're only, you're only kind of talking about 2 or 3 unit win anyway in terms of overall. So it works out around the same as a pick, but we're not losing much if it doesn't come in. So yeah, that's the Accas. That's how we play them. Everything else is a unit play, including the Big Gun Acca. We always play a unit. I think Rob normally plays 2. He's that confident. But in terms of what we're trying to do here, counting our money, counting our bankroll, we are putting them down as 1 units. So that brings us to the end of the pod, Rob. I'm just going to do a quick recap there because there are a few picks to delve into this weekend. So just going back to the beginning, we had from Rob, from yourself, mate, you had Go Ahead Eagles, the Eagles that we love their name, to win against Sparta at 2.05. Going down to the second division, we have Dordrecht to beat PSV Youth at 1.8. In the Premier League, we have Bournemouth at home, 1.8. Man United away at 2.15. Liverpool away, the big, that's an absolute cauldron of a match with the Isaac fiasco going on. Liverpool to win, though, can't ignore those odds at 2.05. We have Middlesbrough quietly going about their business at an unbelievable price at 3.1 here. We have a double in La Liga, Real Madrid and Villarreal at exactly even money. And then we had the big Gun Acca with PSG, Arsenal, PSV, Sporting, Atleti, Barca, Porto and Real Madrid at 5.05. Rob, where can people find us?
Wow. Again, good outro or good recap of all our picks. So first I have to acknowledge that. So now here I go with the recommendations. You can find us on across all different kinds of social media. Mainly we're on X. We're mainly on YouTube as well. That's where you can watch, not watch or listen to our podcast. You can also listen to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and different podcasting broadcasters. Just search for the Betting Connection. We would really love you to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us out, and to try to grow our numbers and keep delivering those winning picks for you.
Excellent, Rob. Yeah, please like and subscribe wherever you do listen to us, because that helps us and helps us keep doing this for you guys. So have a good weekend. Really looking forward to the action, and whatever you do, be lucky. Ciao for now.
Happy betting.